My biological role model was Ronald Levy, and as you can see here, he was the inventor of the cancer quote-unquote vaccine, which we'll get into later. But he was born in December 11th, 1941, so he happens to be a little bit of an old guy, but look at him on the right, he looks so happy. He did his undergrad at Harvard and got a biochemistry degree in 1963, and then got his medical degree at Stanford in 1968. And so currently he is a professor of medicine at Stanford and also the chief of the Division of Oncology at the Stanford Medical School. And so much like I'm doing here with my role model being him, he also had a role model, Henry Kaplan, that kind of pioneered the way for radiotherapy for Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is kind of the radiation style used to treat much cancer. As you can see, there's a picture of him on the left, and obviously if Mr. Levy was born in 1941, this guy is even a little bit older than that. But so then kind of his experience that he's had, he worked in Conrad Bloch's lab, sorry if I'm butchering that, but this was a Nobel Prize winner back in the day. And interesting, what kind of the thing that I found the most interesting, in the bottom right picture, there's the Weizmann Institute in Israel. So he actually spent a lot of his time working there, and actually during the Yom Kippur War and the Six-Day War, and actually ended up meeting his wife there. So I thought that was really interesting about him. And why do I see Dr. Levy as a role model? Well, I first think his work that he's done, which I'll get into after this, is kind of the most outstanding work that I've kind of seen, and the future implications that his work may have and kind of the path that it's laying for future scientists is something that I really admire and think that he's kind of just, pioneering the way for future experiments to be done. And I couldn't find any of his hobbies. He doesn't have Facebook or anything, but I hunted. But I'm assuming he certainly loves what he does and loves being in the lab. He is the head of the oncology department at Stanford, so one can assume then his research is dealing with oncology and cancer research. And one of the things he really is trying to find a way to is to use the immune system itself to fight cancer. So no radiation, no chemicals, but instead using those T cells, as you see in the diagram on the right, to combat the cancer, target the cancer, and kill the cancer. So as you can see, he's actually still doing research. His recent paper was in 2019 here, and that was on the RNA sequencing of follicular lymphoma, and that kind of goes into looking at what's in the RNA and where that is being expressed, as in what proteins are happening and such. And to do that, he used a strategy called multicolor flow cytometry, or that's how I'm going to say it. But it kind of assigns different colors to different cells that have different things that are expressed. And this allowed him to then further understand that within a tumor there are both normal B cells and then there also are the malignant B cells inside the tumor. And so this kind of helped him further understand the microenvironment that is at play within the tumor, and then also give new ideas on how to potentially treat that. So he's had a pretty exciting life as far as discoveries go so far. First, he helped found the company IDEC Pharmaceuticals, which helped then him study and then come up with the first kind of cancer drug to be used, rituximab, in 1997. And since then there's been much more, but that kind of what was the front runner in this category. And that cancer vaccine we're talking about, right now he's doing a study on how if you put a short stretch of DNA and an antibody that binds to that DNA, and that DNA binds to the T cells, then you can then activate those T cells within the tumor. This is to be injected into the tumor, and then you can activate those T cells within there to start attacking the cancer that is around it. And it is in the very, very early stages of it, but he says that it looks promising so far, which is great news, and that the further implications that it could have in the future are numerous, and I think that's the most exciting part both to me and to him. And so here's your reference page, and I hope you enjoyed learning about him as much as I enjoyed learning about him. Catch you on the flip side, homies.